Leonard will have the feed. Big drives from both sides. It's spun all the way around, and the referee says you're not for real, and that's a penalty for Shannon. And the celebrations out on the pitch from the Shannon players, they're delighted with that. Very pleased with the work. Even centres Jack O'Donnell and Killian Deneen celebrating out in the middle, congratulating Luke Rigney for his work. And this time, John O'Sullivan says he will not go for the post. He's going to go down the line. They're going to try and use that man advantage they have and squeeze young Munster. The set piece has been Shannon's strong point so far in this game. And this is a real opportunity for the men in black and blue.
It's hugely psychological there then with Shannon obviously in the scrum. Colm Skeen in the bin and Brian Begley came on. I thought young Munster did quite well on the hit, but just crabbed across a small bit and Shannon kept going through, hence why Eddie Ogan O'Connell is given. Interestingly, only Shannon's second line out after about 26 minutes of play, so they're 1 from 1. Let's see if they're going to launch a set player or more off this.
It's a long line out. And they go to the front. Routine, set up the maul. They're going to try and drive at the young Munster line from there. Looks like the sack is good. And the ball goes to ground. Leonard has eyes on it, gets hands on it, and goes towards the midfield. Ring, lovely pop pass. Tackled. Munster's tried to stand him up to create the maul. Knee is on the ground. That'll be a tackle. And eventually, the ball comes out the back really well taken. Kelvin Brown looking to go, but he's managed to shove back. He was looking for the offload, couldn't get it. They're outside the 22 now. Munster defence has done well. Into midfield, another big carry this time from Luke Rigney. Munster's slowing down that Shannon ball, and eventually they go out the back into midfield. Lovely take from Deneen. Deneen held down, and the ball spilled forward. It's going to be advantage to young Munster. And it's kicked to touch. No advantage. Come back for the knock-on. Munster's defensive set there will be very pleased with that.
Yeah, absolutely. First visit for Shannon to the 22 there, trying to maul off two is always very, very, very difficult. But just a word on Oran Ring, Danny's been absolutely to the fore of everything good that Shannon have done. Interestingly, 2 hits up there, and Shannon enterprising play trying to get out. Killian Deneen, again, young guy, enterprising. Whether the message from Pat O'Connor is to throw the ball, maybe they might try and hold that and go through the phases, because they certainly had young Munster on the ropes.
Evan O'Gorman down in midfield for young Munster, and it looks like he's in some discomfort. One wonders if he'll be able to continue this game. Colm Skeen's been doing some warming up. Still time on the scene bin for him. It looks as though Evan O'Gorman's day is done, and a very unfortunate for him. Shane O'Brien coming in to take his place. Evan O'Gorman. Well, you hate to see it in any game, particularly the Munster final, Senior Cup final. Looks like they're going to need the stretcher to get him off. And that is very unfortunate for Evan O'Gorman, as the stretcher comes on to remove him from play. When he went down, he looked extremely uncomfortable, and you just got that sinking feeling. And that's the end of his game, and sure enough.
Desperately unfortunate for him. Dan Evan O'Gorman's had his fair share of injuries, and he's done incredibly well to come back, so wishing him a speedy recovery. He'll be a huge loss for young Munsters as well in terms of his abrasiveness as a 12 on those first phase carries off scrums and lineouts, but Shane O'Brien as an able deputy brings something different to the pitch, so we'll see how they go. I think this stop-start nature is actually suiting Shannon, even though it's a level game. And they've really, really grown in confidence, Shannon have, as they've come into the game. They've played really, really good rugby, so full credit to them.
At 6-all still the score in this game, but Shannon very much in the ascendancy. They've had the better ball, the better opportunities. Neither side has threatened the line of their opposition, but in terms of tactical possession territory and offering a threat with ball carrying Shannon certainly look to be the superior outfit so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And there might only be 200 people at the game here, but they've been treated to a very, very tactical game in the opening half an hour. And in terms of both halfbacks, then Shannon's halfbacks have been very, very controlling, moving the ball to width. Leonard and O'Sullivan and O'Callaghan and Cusack have been quiet by their standards, but I think they just need a little bit more from their Munsters back at the moment, particularly at the breakdown.
And that is the end of the game for Evan O'Gorman. Very unfortunate. So, restarting with the young Munster scrum between the 10 and the 22 inside their own half, middle of the park. Feed from O'Callaghan into midfield. Skipped out. Lovely little take on the run. Really well done, and eventually hauled to ground. That was super running from Jack Harrington for young Munster. Back into midfield goes. Fintan Coleman carries. O'Callaghan popping out. Alan Kennedy, the captain. Shannon quick to get on him. Into midfield, and Evan Cusack spies a gap in the Shannon defence, tries to dink it into touch. It doesn't. Well taken in the backfield by Ben Daly. Lovely feet, stepping inside this way and that. Will he be brought down? Eventually, the offload was good. Young Munsters turn it over and rip it clear.
Chance
and it looks as though there's some opportunity to get it out wide, all the way out to Luke Fitzgerald. Stepping in and smashing through Deneen, really going right through his man, and it's popped out. Cusack to Kennedy. Kennedy carrying at the halfway line. He's brought to ground. Super defensive work from Shannon. The referee's hand is out. There's going to be a penalty advantage. Bartley, the offload is excellent. Shannon looked to get men over. O'Callaghan is at the back, whipping it to Cusack. Cusack passing into midfield. The ball bounces loose. There's no advantage for the penalty, and young Munster will have that penalty around the halfway line. And that was some excellent rugby. Super off-the-cuff rugby, and the first real bit of exciting stuff we've seen from young Munster so far.
It's exactly that. Just after a half an hour, then the game has come to life. Cusack with fantastic footwork there, hitting over his pass on Craig O'Hanlon. He was fantastically tackled by Cillian Deneen, but both teams in the scrum were struggling to get back into the set play. So Cusack is definitely the threat in the back line, but Cillian Deneen hasn't put a foot wrong for Shannon, and he's certainly grown in confidence.
And so Cusack puts the ball into touch just over the 10-metre line, not quite getting the distance out of it he might have liked. Finds his touch. Young Munster's line out, which so far has not been a weapon for them, will be tested again. Alan Kennedy marshals his troops. And 6 go into the line-out. Aaron Hennessy will feed. It's a much bigger line-out from young Munster this time. To the tail it goes, and stolen by Shannon yet again. Yet another steal, and Kelvin Brown is in midfield. He offloads. O'Sullivan puts his boot on it. That one's going to go all the way into the Munsters 22. Really well tracked back and collected by O'Brien. O'Brien puts his boot on it, and that goes into touch just over the 10-metre line. Oh, further up even. Into the Shannon half. I thought it had gone in quite narrow. It's actually gone in quite long. Just shy of the 10-metre line inside the Shannon half. And that is a good clearing kick for a finish from Shane O'Brien.
It's a superb kick from Shane O'Brien. He's come on in place of Evan O'Gorman, but the set piece for young Munsters will be a worry there. Then in terms of a 6-man line-out, Shannon had the ability to defend with 2 pods there. They need to really shorten the line-out to a 4 or 5 man, get the ball in possession and build phases there. They haven't been able to build phases for set piece. They're banking on turnover off Shannon, and Shannon are really feeding off that.
So Shannon's put in, far side of the pitch from our commentary position. The feed from Jordan Prendeville. Towards the middle, and this time young Munster steal it. John Foley getting up to get his hands on it. And into midfield it goes, but it's loose. Just about collected and really well taken from Harry Fleming. Fleming stepping inside. Munster's one quick ball and it's gone into midfield. A step inside and to ground. Cusack with the reverse pass into the hands of Rigney. Sean Rigney looking to break through his man. Eventually goes to ground. O'Callaghan gets hands in it to Kennedy. Kennedy managing to burst through one tackle and eventually goes to ground just shy of the 10. Munster's making yards now. Slowly but surely. Deep it goes. Really well taken. Craig O'Hanlon looking to smash up. Gets to the gain line. This is better play from Munsters. And it's going to be penalty advantage. Leonard coming around when he shouldn't have. That's free play for Munsters now as they take it over the 10-metre line into the Shannon half and start to attack.
Chance here.
Free kick, and Donegal Callahan clips it through. There's a foot race on. Munsters get there first. The ball bouncing loose and really well collected by Ben Daly. And Daly has done so well to recover that ball. Held to ground just at inside the 22. And it looks as though he's held on the ground, and it will be a Munsters penalty at the 22, far side of the pitch. Ben Daly did so well, that ball bouncing very awkwardly between two players and holding on to it as he broke clear. And young Munster will have the penalty advantage just inside the 22 in the first, probably the second bit of territory they've had, but the first in quite a while.
Temperature's gone up a few notches there. Dan Craig O'Hanlon, the elder statesman in the young Munsters back line. He's kicked it dead.
And that is kicked dead. An unforced error from Evan Cusack. The Shannon players celebrating that. Delighted. They will have the 22 dropout. And so it's to get out of jail for free. And Munster under no real pressure. Those errors cost you games.
Has a real feel of a Limerick derby now, then we really don't want half time to come.
As you say, the temperature going up just a little bit. Eddie Fitz puts his boot on that ball into midfield. Shannon will be very, very pleased with the work to get themselves up to 22. Lovely little grubber kick to try and get it out. The Munster jump on it, pouncing, trying to force an error. Shannon still have. Back into midfield. It's a high pass, but really well taken as they look to set up phase play. Shannon looking real comfortable on this ball. Munster's trying to disrupt. Back it goes. O'Sullivan into midfield. Little show and go. Really well taken. Deneen looks to be intercepted, and it is. Foley looking to go. Hits the deck. Munsters have it inside the Shannon 22. Another unforced error. This one from Shannon. Carry from Skehan. Back in from the sin bin now. Donegal Callahan to Bartley. Bartley carrying and making a yard. No more than that. It's in midfield. Shannon have a player down injured. And so Munster's playing against 14 now. O'Callaghan wants it, but it's slow coming back. Shannon set themselves. Foley with the carry. Munster's latch on in support. Well defended from Shannon. Into midfield. Another big carry. Munster's making no yards, going backwards a little bit, in fact. Going up inside again. Cusack to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald to O'Hanlon. O'Hanlon trying to step inside. Wrapped up, really well defended out on the far wing from Shannon. Munster still have and looking to attack at that Shannon line. This time it's more direct. Making some yards. Conor Bartley on his own, wants support. Goes to ground. O'Callaghan slow getting his hands on it. Rigney with the carry. Shannon defending really well. O'Callaghan has it. Are there options out wide? Cusack. Skip pass. O'Brien. O'Brien outside to Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald touches down. And that's a try for young Munster. A super try. Turning over ball inside the Shannon 22. And then working it one side to the other. And finally Fitzgerald steps back inside and touches down halfway between the post and the touchline. Super try.
It's the first time young Munsters have got phases in play in the 22, Dan, and they've made Shannon pay there. Sean McCarthy with a little trick shot of a 22 dropout. They actually regained possession there, and it was probably an opportunity to get further down the field. Ben Daly, who hasn't put a foot wrong, just got caught in possession there, and young Munsters made them pay. We are going to be speaking at full time, whether it's discipline or those little mistakes, but you have to credit Shannon. Pat O'Connor and Stephen Keogh have said to them to go out and play rugby. That has to have been the message. If it hasn't, it's going to be an interesting half-time team talk.
There's no doubt that Munster have managed to turn this one around in terms of tactical and field position and proven just how dangerous they can be in broken play themselves. Evan Cusack with the opportunity to add some extras. Shannon are up quick, but Cusack nails it over the bar, and that makes the score 13 points to 6 as we head towards half-time. Not much left in it now, although there were a few stops. About 5 minutes of additional time to play.
Even with the mistakes, Dan, of Evan Cusack kicking the ball dead and Daly there, you can't fault players for trying to play rugby, and both teams have tried to do that in the last 15-20 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see if it keeps up in the second half.
They've shaken off the opening 10 minutes where somewhat feeling each other out. Since then, we've had a good game of rugby. Ding dong, plenty of big tackles, big hits, offloading rugby, running rugby. It's been great to watch. Shannon kickoff. It's deep into the Young Munster territory, collected well on the far side. Young Munster will have field position. Shannon looking to put pressure on that. O'Callaghan goes back for his out half, Evan Cusack. Cusack, long, big, long kick, really well fielded on the far side of the pitch. Darren Gavin and Shannon happy to go into midfield, and the ball forward, and Conor Barton trying to use his football skills, hacked up into Neen, spills it, outside it goes, and Harrington looking to carry all the way to the corner. Will he be brought into touch? Harrington, can he get into the corner and get it down? No.
Yeah,
in fact, he has got it into the corner, and that is an unbelievable try, a huge reversal from Young Munster. Deneen hasn't put a foot wrong so far this game, caught in no man's land, and as the ball bounced up, Harrington went all the way, and it looks as though Fleming is the man who eventually gets the ball down after a big break from Harrington. Young Munster 2 sucker punch tries in the space of only minutes, and an absolutely devastating couple of minutes for Shannon, who had been doing so well until those 2 reversals, 2 small mistakes, costing big.
Yeah, well, we just spoken about it there, Dan, whether or not it's a little bit of tiredness creeping in before half time. Full credit has to go to Young Munsters there. Luke Fitzgerald, anybody taking that pass normally on a turnover, I'll actually go back one. Bartley, you can't go without giving him credit there. The Georgian strongman in the front row he'll claim it was a kick pass, but all credit goes to Luke Fitzgerald there. He could have taken the ball to ground. He threw the blind offload. They went. Harrington with an exceptional carry there, and Harry Fleming was there quickly to go. Shannon will be desperately disappointed with that 2 scores, but they need to get to half time and regroup now.
Difficult kick from the sideline for Evan Cusack. Munster stretching their lead. It's now 18 points to 6. An opportunity to make it 20, but this is by no means routine. Right, all the way out on that far touchline. Cusack pulls it to the left and wide. And as you say, Shannon will be extremely disappointed. 42, nearly 43 minutes played. We have about 2 minutes left before we hit half time. We're into the stoppages, if you like. Shannon will want to regroup and reset themselves. 12 points the difference in this game now. Kicked off from O'Sullivan. This one going really deep, all the way into backfield, taken really well from Cusack. Cusack puts a boot on it and puts it into touch between the 22 and the 10. That kind of long kick won't really suit Shannon. Overhit slightly from O'Sullivan.
There is a slight breeze there favouring Shannon on that long kick-off, but it's important, particularly in a final, having been shell-shocked with 2 scores, that you make sure that you at least get to half-time with that score, but Shannon have an opportunity here to attack.
So it will be, and the Shannon lineout has been humming along quite nicely. Jordan Prendeville feeding in. Really well taken off the top from McCarthy. A little show and go from Leonard. He's done really well, sniping this way and that. Eventually he's caught. He's going to be held up. And it's ripped, in fact, from Young Munster, from Alan Kennedy. And Kennedy looking to go rampaging. He throws a loose pass, collected in the backfield from Skehan. And that was a little bit unorthodox, to say the least. And Munster will want to regroup. Slow coming back on their side. Kennedy did well to rip, but Cusack turns around, puts his boot on it, puts it to touch, and takes us to half-time. And a half-time in which Shannon opened really strong, got some really good phases going, got some good offloading rugby going, and ultimately Young Munster, when they came back into it and started to move that ball, they showed just how dangerous they can be in that back line. 2 scores from 2 of their backs, and really when they get going, they are extremely dangerous. They'll be a little rocked, considering how well they started.
Yeah, it was a picture perfect 33 or 34 minutes then for Shannon. They couldn't have asked for a better start to the final. They had Young Munster's set piece, the line out in disarray, but as you said there, the 2 scores, maybe that little bit more experience in the back line, but full credit to both teams. It's been a enterprising and entertaining first half. I just wonder, with the defensive effort that Shannon put in that first half, how much of a toll it's going to take on them in the second.
We apologise for our comms issues. We've had a few so far. We are trying to address those. So with that in mind, we'll take a little break. We'll see what we have to fix, and we will rejoin as soon as we can, hopefully with ourselves all back up and running.
No, I'm fine. Thanks. You all have good habits, have you?
Well,
What's the score there at halftime? Oh, really?
yeah, I wouldn't. That's why I was saying that. But we got stuff that was. I was in that night as part of the Sky Sports. And when they didn't tell me about it, it wasn't strong. And it's really cool. Yeah, really. When you change the thing I was using now, bring up, so what we do here now is bring up the halftime score, just have it there. Yeah. And then then you have one there, like, and you just layer it over. Like the transitions to him is really cool. Like, very cool. And even just water break, just water. It's really cool.
I do a lot of this
Learning it all.
camera work.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of the behind the scenes. You do not. Normally we have two. Sometimes we have three. Because if there's a lot of complicated audio, that's the job. So it just builds up. I do this with your buddy and trying to keep this. Anyway, no, it is cool to have all the other stuff. All the other business and makes it amazing. See it. Yeah.
They do it here.
Yeah.
So, team graphics.
I'd love to be like, especially the first time playing rugby. I do a lot of dance and theatre and stuff like that.
I've been doing it lately.
But it's good prep, like, it is really good.
Oh, yeah? It's getting better too. You're reading. Yeah.
I'll ask the media.
Oh, there's a bit tastes like cat on you.
Hello to anyone still watching this live stream link here. We're at half time. The audio issues here have been fixed on a second link. I've pinned it in the chat. So just go into the chat there and you'll find another YouTube link. It's exactly the same as this, but the audio has been fixed. So you don't have to put up with the terrible audio. Sorry about that, but the audio is now fixed on the other link. So click that for the second half. Thanks very much.
Oh, it's the fucking stupid thing. When you set up the YouTube, you tell it where to take its input from. So I told it to take it from my system, but it took it from the laptop. And even though it was only picking up the mic off the laptop, and then I couldn't change it without stopping the live stream. So what I did is I tried loads of things. In the end, I set up another live stream. So I have two going. And one has no audio, and one has the proper audio. So, are we back up soon? Are we?
Shannon? I only just been playing tag and I love it. I'm enjoying tag, yeah. How are you? That would be hilarious. Well, you're going tiny, yeah. But you know what? When you repeat anything, you do well, I think. Yeah, but so much time you went for it.
Very welcome back to Ross Bryan, to Old Crescent RFC, for this final Munster Senior Cup between Shannon and Garryowen. A most unusual final in that it's the first game of the season. And the score so far, Munster 18, Shannon 6. What will Shannon have to do, Dara, to get back into this?
That's the $1 million question. And I think they just need to get possession, in ball in hand, get in the right place in the pitch. Do what they were doing, but just try and eliminate the mistakes. It's easier said than done.
Kick off to Cusack, who returns the kick into touch at the 10-metre line inside Munster's half. And that is a good clearing kick from Cusack. Sets Shannon up for their first opportunity to try and get at young Munster in this half.
Score.
Started so brightly. Unfortunate not to capitalise more, considering the rugby that they had been playing in the early stages of that half. Thrown, overthrown, all the way to the back, and well collected well. An absolutely barnstorming run from Coleman. Young Munster's bench wants a high tackle, tip on pass. Goes to the hands of Harrington. Harrington can't find O'Brien. O'Hanlon has it. Craig O'Hanlon offload. Really well taken from Harrington again. He's had a super game so far. Donnacha Callahan into midfield. Cusack throws a long pass out to Luke Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald throwing it a little bit behind Coleman, who carries up to the halfway line. And Munster's looking to clear out. Kennedy with a big carry, taking out his man and making yards. And Munster will be pleased with that so far. Off a Shannon line-out. Deep it goes. Harry Fleming looking to step back inside and take out his man. Really well done. Looks like Shannon have got hands on it. And Munster lucky to return that. And Cusack puts a boot to ball and tries to pin Shannon back into their own half. Is it going to bounce all the way dead? It's gone into the in-goal area, but it won't go dead. It will be a 22 dropout to Shannon. And unfortunate with the bounce for Evan Cusack there. He's looking for touch, I'm sure.
Yeah, first error for Shannon in the second half from the set piece after a picture-perfect first half. Interesting there to see again then Evan Cusack pulling the strings between the two tens, saw that his team weren't going to make any yards and put it in behind. Be interesting to see what Gar Prendergast and what George Slattery had said at half-time to them as to whether or not they want to play possession. The next score is absolutely crucial. 18-6 game, a 25-6 game. It's a big mountain to climb for Shannon. If it's 18-13, it's game on.
So a treatment being administered. I believe it's Fintan Coleman. But my advancing years make it difficult for me to see who's out there.
Rob Cassidy's sporting a fantastic tan out there.
We will not comment on the tans of various coaching staff. At least I won't. Shannon will have the 22 dropout.
Sean McCarthy certainly wasn't going fast here then, but again, where Shannon go off this, whether you Munsters play straight back at them or play ball in hand, will tell a lot about the message they got at half-time.
So John O'Sullivan kicking off for Shannon. Dropping it at Harry Fleming at the 10-metre line in Munster's half. Fleming carrying out, looking to go through the gap. Isolated a little bit. Shannon players not on their feet. And Donnacha Callahan with a long kick. Bounces inside the Shannon 22. And they go back to O'Sullivan again at full back. He kicks for O'Brien. Shane O'Brien tipping it back in. But he's tipped it. No, he hasn't managed to keep it from going to touch.
Clearance kick.
Super clearing kick from O'Sullivan, who was standing at full back. It'll be a young Munsters line out as the ball had gone into touch off that kick. But Shannon doing well to get themselves up into young Munster half. And this line out for young Munster has been a problem for the most of this game. They haven't won their own line out yet. Conor Bartley telling Aaron Hennessy what's what. They go to the front this time, taken by Ligney. And Munster's keeping it simple in this half and getting the ball moving. It starts to roll a little bit and eventually goes to ground. John Foley at the back there. Craig O'Hanlon looking to take it through. Kelvin Brown slow to get out of the way. O'Callaghan is going to box kick this one. And does. Dropping just outside and it's dropped all the way in. Straight into touch. Michael O'Callaghan not finding his angle. And so it will be a Shannon put in an opportunity to Jordan Prendeville.
Even though Shannon have won that line out, then they forced Rigney to go to the front to take the ball. They've been able to splinter and take the top of the maul right into touch. Craig O'Hanlon, who's a 15, has taken a carry in, and your Munsters have gone to box kick. It's a win there for Shannon. Again, your Munsters, who are normally so reliable at the set piece, will really have to address that. They are 18-6 ahead, but in order to get further ahead in the game, the set piece is going to have to function.
And Kennedy down receiving treatment, the young Munster captain. So a small break and a chance for some of the players to take on water in the heat. Shannon look to make their first replacement of the day.
Aaron Herr
coming in. Bit of restructuring going on in the Shannon backline. So Prendeville's put into the lineouts. Goes to the middle. Shannon take it well this time. Really well passed off from Hare into midfield. Big carry. Shannon making some yards and now looking to put the ball through hands. Another big carry and a great offload. Shannon making yards and taking it into the Munster half. Really quick ball at the back. Hare doing really well. Munster this time coming up and making the tackle. John Foley with that one. Into midfield again. It's a little slower this time for Shannon. Hare back for O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan spinning it out onto the wing and it's a super pass, but there's a foot in touch. And the super rugby we've seen from Shannon in the early stages of the first half, undone by a couple of small unforced errors here and there, which has cost them on the scoreboard in a big way.
Shannon with a very clever starter play there. Then Sean McCarthy with a great take at the line-out. Hare getting out into the wider channel. They got Conor Glynn running at Harry Fleming. Harry Fleming, a very able defender, but losing the collision on that occasion. And Shannon, when they get front football there, be interesting to see when Hare comes onto the pitch whether they can get the likes of Jack O'Donnell into the game and get the ball to Gavin and O'Donnell.
O'Donnell and Deneen have both looked threatening in that Shannon midfield. And so far, haven't seen enough ball to really utilise that threat. So Munster line out. We'll reset again. Clock is on. Hennessy to the middle. Rigney. And that's a crooked throw. Unfortunately, that line out really causing problems for young Munster. As Shannon go to their bench again. This time, Charlie Carmody coming in. Looks to be coming in. Referee inviting Mr. Carmody to make his entrance. And I believe that
Lee Nicholas.
is Captain Lee Nicholas coming out. So what can Carmody bring to turn this game around for Shannon? Prendeville with the line-out ball. Goes to the middle. Munsters get up and interfere and manage to get ball back. An advantage for a knock-on while they're at it. Taken by Foley. Really well done from Foley. And Munster have O'Callaghan into midfield. Fleming, lovely pass on. O'Brien to Craig Hanlon. Hanlon puts his boot on it. That one's going to bounce into the Shannon 22. Is it going to stop short of the line? It is. Bouncing just short of the line. It's a really big, long kick, and Shannon have to play out from inside their own 22. Munster's kick chase is good. Looking to get on it, but unfortunately flopping over the top. And Shannon will have the opportunity to clear their lines for free. It was a good pressuring kick from Craig O'Hanlon. Munster's kick chase just a little too enthusiastic. Hanlon himself went over the top.
Exactly that. Then, in all fairness to Eddie Hogan O'Connell, the referee, has been fairly hot on that great kick from O'Hanlon, but just a little bit over exuberant at the breakdown there, and Shannon get out of jail free card.
John Sullivan's clearing kick, not perhaps the distance he might have liked, takes Shannon to Just between their 22 and the 10 on this near side. And Donnacha O'Callaghan's game is done. And Munster's making the substitution. Bringing in Jack Lyons. Shannon taking well at their line, looking to maul and try and make some yards that way. And Munster's maul defence is good. The ball goes to deck. And that's excellent maul defence, really. Into midfield, and O'Sullivan puts his boot on it. That one's going to drop for O'Brien at the 10 with the sun in his eyes, manages to get his hands on it and dinks a little grubber kick back into touch, turning Shannon around and back into their own half again. They will have to put into the line out far side of the pitch. So no yards, 3 phases, no yards. Far well, unless you count the width of the pitch.
Shane O'Brien has had a couple of nice touches since he's come in then, but again, Shannon with a line under 22, they didn't get much parity. Instead of a traditional box kick in the side of the pitch, they opted to go for the open Gary Owen, and Shane O'Brien caught it, and Young Munsters will be very happy with the return, 18-6, winding down the clock, and Shannon with a force to probably clear their lines again here.
Prendeville, whose throws have been great for Shannon so far, finds his man yet again, but this time it's crooked in. And that is one of the unforced errors that has cost Shannon as this game has gone on. 18-6 still the score. There'll be time off as Colm Skehan comes out. He's had a big shift for Young Munster.
We spoke before the game, Dan, about how much the temperature was going to influence the game. We're 50 minutes in, you can kind of see again that the fitness level of the players is absolutely fantastic. But with the introduction of new nines, possibly new front rows, I expect the game to open up a small bit.
So, well, Skehan was not actually coming out. Skehan had a rip in his jersey, I think. So I think he's just replacing the jersey and going back in again. Yep. So there's still life in the old dog yet. And so it will be, they have the option of the scrum or the line out, and Young Munster line out being so undependable, they've gone for the scrum. Probably a smart choice, all things considered. Not that Conor Glynn, Jordan Prendeville and Luke Rigney won't be pleased to see if they've had some luck in that scrum so far. They'll see this as an opportunity to get a shove on here and turn this ball over. The feed from Lyons. Neither scrum moving. Lyons urging his pack forward and eventually whips it into midfield. The ball spilled and skitters loose. It's a knock on. Shannon collect. Now Munster going to have to work hard to get that ball back on unforced error. Gary on with Shannon with the kick into the deep field. It goes. O'Brien gets his hands on it and he puts his kick out on the full. That's unfortunate.
Shane O'Brien did exceptionally well to cover the ground on the pitch there, but after turnover he just had to get it out of play. So Shannon's first opportunity for a period of sustained pressure in the Young Munsters half in the second half here then.
Once again, that line out for Shannon has been fairly solid and dependable. And this really is an attacking opportunity outside the Young Munster 22. Now, Young Munster have been more than able defensively in broken play, particularly when in their own red zone. Well taken and into midfield. Shannon go big carry, looking to smash through the first line of defence. Cover tackle eventually made. Shannon want that ball quick here into midfield. Huge tackle that time around to stop Shannon at the gain line. Into midfield it goes again. Little show and go. Foley with the tackle. Shannon have options. Hare has knocked it backwards, says the referee. Dineen gets his hands on it. He's going to have to scramble. He slips through the tackle of O'Hanlon. Dineen doing really well, getting the ball to ground. Hare has his hands on it. Into midfield it goes. And it looks as if it's being knocked back yet again. Another carry. Charlie Carmody, the substitute. Midfield it goes. O'Sullivan into the deep field. Lovely little pass outside. Shannon have options if they can get it to hand. Ball goes behind and they're looking to get him back in midfield. Lovely rugby from Shannon. Young Munster are quick to defend and scramble, and they have a man over. Shannon sealing off, it looks like, and that means Young Munster penalty. And there's that defensive effort in Young Munster scramble. Defence has been excellent, even when Shannon show glimpses of what they can do when they start passing that ball around.
Yeah, fantastic defensive effort from your Munster there, Dan. But we just spoke about the first opportunity Shannon had. 3 or 4 very, very powerful carries in their launch play there. But as you said, young Munster stuck with them at all times in the defence, and it culminated in a penalty on the other side of the pitch. Shannon will take confidence from that, and that if they do get the ball in hand and they can go through the phases, that they will be able to put young Munsters under pressure. But again, on this occasion, it's a win for young Munsters with the penalty.
So 18-6 still the score. Another break while a player receives some treatment. The two sides will enjoy that little bit of a break. It is quite hot, 23 degrees or so. Dara Frawley has his sunscreen on.
Factor 50.
So the small break in play before Evan Cusack will have the opportunity to clear his lines for young Munster. Now they'll be watching this in the clubhouses, both in young Munster and in Shannon. In the Shannon Bar at Thomond Park, presumably. And in Tom Clifford Park at the clubhouse.
Evan Cusack, Dan, has been a fantastic player throughout the game. Still only 22 years of age, but he's showed a real maturity about him. You can hear him speaking to his forwards and his pack there, and he's really a calming presence in that back line.
Throw, overthrown to the tail, looked like a no-arms tackle. Referee not interested. Young Munster have ball back. It's slow coming out. Eventually Lyons gets it. Foley with a carry. John Foley managing to get forward. Lyons into midfield. Cusack reverse pass. Coleman with the carry. Making yards. Slow coming back on the young Munster side, but that will suit young Munster. Lyons to Cusack. Cusack caught behind the gain line and hauled to ground. Really excellent blitz defence from Shannon. And Shannon get the turnover with Cusack isolated. And that is some excellent blitz defending on the young Munster scrum or out half. And Shannon with the opportunity now to get back into attacking territory.
It is a good defensive set there from Shannon. Again, young Munster's overthrown the line out. Colm Skean being well acquainted with, I'm not quite sure which Shannon player it was, but again, they're the little things then that offer Shannon a little bit more parity in certain areas of the game. They have an opportunity to get 3 points here.
John O'Sullivan, who showed in the first half that he has plenty of range. Loads of distance on his first 3 kicks. Missed the first, nailed the second 2, and this one is right in the middle of the pitch. A player with the range that he has, you'd expect this one to split the posts. And Kennedy having a little chat with Eddie Hogan O'Connell. And as O'Sullivan addresses the ball, still inside his own half, so it's quite a distance out. This to reduce the deficit to just 9 points. That one looks like it's going to go all the way, and that is a super penalty from John O'Sullivan. Hung up there a little bit and just dropped down accurately to make the score 18-9. And we've 18 minutes of this half played, so 22 minutes or so to go, plus whatever stoppages. As Cusack kicks off over towards the far touchline. Well taken. Munster looking to get the kick chase on, but that was too comfortable, it looked, for Shannon. The referee has paused play. Looks like there may have been an injury. And the Shannon players hit as he received the ball. There's a Munster player down on the halfway line also.
Surprised it's taking this long for someone to cramp then.
Well, first game back in the season, you'd have to cut some players some slack.
While John O'Sullivan was taking that kick, then Stephen Keogh and Pat O'Connor have been on with messages straight to the players, so they're obviously fully convinced that they can go on and win this game, and that will be a message to Young Munsters in terms of the penalties, that anything within 50-55 gives Shannon that opportunity and O'Sullivan to chip away at their lead.
Will be Young Munsters or Shannon put into the scrum when the play does restart. And I think that's Harry Fleming. And it looks as though that is game over.
Sorry. Yeah.
That is very unfortunate for Evan Cusack, who had been doing so well at 10 for Munster, but his game looks to be over now. Over 20 minutes still in it. Munster now are going to have to play Lions at 10. Donnacha O'Callaghan comes back in.
Jack Lyons to 10, Shane O'Brien to 15.
Lions goes to 10.
Craig O'Hanlon to the
comes
wing.
back in. Craig O'Hanlon has gone onto the wing. And a big shove this time from Young Munster, but the referee says that's an illegal shove. And Shannon have an opportunity now to once more get back into attacking territory. And that set piece has been a weapon for them in this game so far. They'll be pleased with how it's gone for them. Well, Prendergast, probably less so in terms of how Young Munster's set piece has functioned thus far. Sullivan's kick is a good one, taking Shannon into the Young Munster half, shy of the 10-metre line.
We spoke then about Evan Cusack being a cannon presence there. To the best of my knowledge, Jack Lyons' favourite position is a 9. So it will be interesting to see what way they do play the game, whether they're going to play territory down in Shannon's half or they're going to continue to try and play ball in hand.
Prendeville will have to put into the line out. Once again, that Shannon set piece has been going well. This time, though, it's stolen off the top. And Young Munster's falling on it and not being able to control that possession. The referee is pausing for the water break and a chance for the teams to regroup. Gerard Prendergast is going to want to have a chat with the team now that don't have their out half about what the strategy is for the remaining 20 minutes of this game. And that is a big blow for Young Munster. With only 9 points of a lead, 20 minutes still to play, they're going to have to play it without their number 10. That really could be a turning point.
Yeah, it's a huge blow. I think a lot of the Young Munsters fans around the ground are that little bit more nervous. But again, Jack Lyons, we will see if he's an able deputy. Just go back to the halftime team talk, Dan, from Stephen Keogh and the rest of the Shannon management. It would have been a very difficult team talk for them because for 35 minutes they did play extremely well. The fact that they were, I don't want to say sucker punch, but they gave away 2 very unfortunate tries. I don't think they've needed to change a lot in the second half, and they haven't. But again, the things that are bringing Shannon back into the game have been Young Munster's lack of stability at the set piece, and that the 3 points has come from discipline, albeit it's been a one-off. So I think the message from Gareth Prendergast and George Slattery here will be, we're in cup final mode now. We don't need to take any unnecessary risks. Let's play the ball down there. And then on the other side, I think Shannon are going to be saying, we'll chip away at it for the next little bit, and when the message comes on to play, let's play.
Expecting a tense final 20 minutes. And what more could you want from a Senior Cup final except for a tense final 20 minutes? This is a big occasion. These are the moments that you live for as a club rugby player. 20 minutes all on the line. In Munster's history, they've never beaten Shannon in a Senior Cup final. Been on the receiving end, unfortunately for them, several losses, including that hat-trick in 2000, 2001 and 2002 for Shannon.
Brian Begley, Mark O'Mara and Tom Goggin are in for Colin Ski and Aaron Hennessy and Craig Hannon as well. So the cavalry have been brought on for the remaining 20 minutes.
Will that affect the shape of this game? Ball knocked on at the back from the Shannon line out and then spilled forward from the Young Munsters. And the referee blows the whistle and says, nope, knock on. And it will be Young Munsters put into the line out. The knock on coming first from the Shannon line out. And the line-out really working for them. And then it'd be one of those moments they would have targeted as an opportunity to attack, perhaps get some points on the board. And that's cheap to give up that ball.
A lot of credit has to go to Sean Rigney there. Then the last couple of lineouts, they have been getting up in the air as well. So the Munsters have addressed that. Whatever about their own lineout, they need to stifle Shannon's ball, and they've just about done that.
So Donegal Callahan back on the pitch with the feed. Far side of the pitch. That's a much more stable scrum from Young Munster. Starting to move. And the referee says it's turned and we'll reset. A little short whistle as opposed to the long penalty whistle. That was a much more stable scrum from Young Munster, but that shove from Shannon did look like a big one.
Barley, O'Mara and Begley, again, fresher than the Shannon front row, but Shannon more than making a good account of themselves there.
So this will suit Young Munster in terms of the clock. It looks as though Evan Cusack might have been taken out for a HIA, which he seems to have passed as he looks to be coming back on. Young Munster have the ball out. Big kick from Lions to pin Shannon back into their own 22. It's going to go too long into the in-goal area, and it will be a 22 dropout. But as you say, that was, as you mentioned, Darragh, kicking the ball long and then Shannon back, playing the game where Young Munster want to play that. And I might have spoken too soon about Evan Cusack. He's down behind the goals with Rob Cassidy. Just going through some drills. As O'Sullivan puts a big boot on it, dropping into the hands of Donegal Callahan at the halfway line. He puts a boot on it back and tries to pin Shannon back, and it's caught and taken the mark called inside the 22. Sullivan once again putting a boot on it and clearing it up to the halfway line for a Young Munster line-out, which today has been something of a lotto for the team in black and amber. Kelvin Brown coming out for Shannon. Lee Nicholas coming back in.
John O'Sullivan's been hugely impressive. The wise head and young shoulders there. He's been tactically very, very sound. I think he'd like to get a bit more ball in hand though in Young Munster's half, so I think he'd be telling his pack to try and pinch this line out.
Mark O'Mara to the tail, really well taken at the back into midfield. Lions show and go and looks to go through the gap and just about hauled down. O'Callaghan to Mark O'Mara. O'Mara through his first tackle. Quick ball from Young Munsters is good to Foley in midfield. Foley absolutely smashing into his man. Young Munsters are complaining for a high tackle perhaps. Big carry in midfield. And another big hit. Shannon putting in those hits and stopping Young Munster at the game line, at the 10-metre line inside their own half. Donegal Callahan spies a gap, dinks it over the top, and that one's going to bounce into touch. A superb kick, really tactically astute from Donegal Callahan, pinning Shannon back in, and it is as you predicted, Darragh Foley. Young Munsters, no mistakes. Let's just play the game up at the other end of the pitch.
Mark O'Mara's addition there, Dan, it's very interesting. That's the first time Young Munsters have won ball at the back of the line out cleanly. They've had an opportunity to get outside Shannon's defenders, and they've gotten themselves down to Shannon's 22 with very, very good game management from Donegal Callahan.
And so there will be the Shannon put into the line out, more treatment going on. As the nature of a first game back that happens to be a Senior Cup final would indicate, there are going to be treatments happening here and there. The size of the Young Munster pack is telling when you see Donegal Callahan standing in there next to some of the monsters that he's in there with. Tom Goggin, Alan Kennedy, and John Foley.
It's like they're bringing their young fella to his first day of school then.
So Shannon's put into the line-out, their line-out. Strong for most of this game, a couple of small blips here and there. They'll want to get that right, particularly in this dangerous territory. Prendeville's put in, goes to middle, taken scrappily off the top, but Shannon's return ball, big tackle from Young Munster, shoving them back towards their own line, but Shannon retained possession just over their own line. They look to clear it out from here to get this clear. Up it goes, a big high hands and big head and the intercept was on but knocked on, and that was a try begging if that ball had gone to hand. And you can tell absolutely furious with himself is Jack O'Donnell. He could see the try line coming at him if he just managed to hold that.
Yeah, the try line was at his mercy, even though he's 85 plus metres there from the line. Again, Sean McCarthy, who's been exemplary at the line out all game, not winning it cleanly. Young Munster is piling on the pressure there, and again, they could have, I don't want to say put the game to bed, but put it on the fingertips of Shannon. But again, Jack O'Donnell just needs to drop that though. Shannon's still in the game though, then it's very like a Limerick derby of old.
The Shannon bench vocal now in their support for their team, urging them on. Donnacha O'Callaghan with the feed. This is a attacking opportunity for young Munster. Options left and right. Scrum goes down. Clock keeps on ticking. Will be a reset. And that will suit young Munster down to the ground. A slow resets. Really eating into the game of rugby. If I start complaining about it, I'll sound like some old fogey, so I won't. So the reset. Callahan, as I say, has options left and right, and Munster have O'Brien and Craig O'Hanlon on the blind side. Callahan with the feed, and then Munster's got a big drive on. It's a huge drive on, and there's the penalty. It was inevitable as soon as they started rolling. It's right in front of the post. A very kickable opportunity, and the forward pack are absolutely delighted with that, and a potentially crucial moment for young Munster, winning that penalty where they did.
Huge statement from the Munster's pack there then, but again, we referenced it 10 minutes ago. We bring in the likes of Mark O'Mara and Brian Begley fresh off the bench. Shannon still have their starting front row on the bench, and with the heat, with it being the first game, as good and all as they've been, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to keep parity in that scrum. So Shannon may look to get fresh bodies on the pitch there for set piece.
O'Brien is the man who's going to have a go at this. It's right in front of the post. Should be relatively routine. Over it goes to make it 21-9 and stretch this back out to a 12-point game. And Shannon turned over after a lot of hard work and a lot of good work, particularly considering that ball gone to hand in Jack O'Donnell's hand. They've been looking at a try the other end instead. 3 points to young Munster, 21 points to 9. And we're looking at perhaps the last 10 minutes or so of this game. O'Sullivan, excellent for Shannon so far today. His kick,
championship minutes then,
and it's really well taken from McCarthy. He's put to ground and not releasing the tackler on the ground is the call. Dom Goggin penalised by the referee. Hare hands it off to O'Sullivan, and Shannon with an opportunity now to get back into this game. 12 points down. They want to make this territory count. O'Sullivan finds his touch, and Shannon will attack at this line out. Tom Goggin doesn't agree with the referee's assessment of not rolling away.
This is the chance then for Shannon.
10 minutes left. Shannon will want a score out of this summer.
They need an opportunity from 3 or 4 in the line out other than a transfer at 2, because the Munsters have stifled them. So let's see if they're brave with the call.
Prendeville with the feed. Throws to the middle. Young Munsters don't bother contesting, setting up to defend the maul instead. Shannon Maul not moving yet, trying to shift it to the side. Still not going anywhere. Hare is going to have to play this. No, it's still in the maul, and they're starting to roll towards the line. Sprint away. It's at the back, and Hare has. It'll be popped out for the attempted drive. Shannon not over the line. Hare contested on the ground, and it's hard work at that breakdown from young Munster. Shannon still have, and they have advantage. They go out the blind side, and O'Sullivan touches down in the corner. That's a really well-worked move from the out half, who's been the star of the Shannon team so far, scoring in the corner. A great try for Shannon, and they've pulled points back into this to make it just a 7-point game. It's now 21-14, and a chance for Shannon to add the extras. Craig O'Hanlon remonstrating with Eddie Hogan O'Connell. The referee not interested.
We said that O'Sullivan has been exemplary all game, Dan, and he managed to get his hands on the ball there and get in, but credit to Jack O'Donnell there. He was obviously going to be the set play carrier, and he called for the ball not to be given to him because the young Munster's defence were set. But it's we're 10 minutes to go in a Munster Senior Cup final into a one-score game. If this goes over, I think it will.
Well, it's 7 points as it stands, 21-14. This to cut that to 5.
Past maths for leaving certain apologies.
So did I. Let's have the calculator out. Sullivan. This is a difficult kick, to say the least. Shane O'Brien looks to be done, having come on early. He'll have to come out now. That's a big kick, but it's not going to come back in, and so it stays out. And no extras for Shannon. 35 minutes is what we make it. There's probably some extras on that. Call it about 7 minutes left in this game, roughly. And the score is now 21-14, 7-point game between these two old city rivals. Shane O'Brien has come out. Evan Cusack is back into the game as Shane O'Brien comes out. We've seen some changes, multiple changes, back and forth. But, it's going to be, the kickoff is going to be from Harry Fleming. Hands it off. Lions will kick it off. Dropping at the 22, really well taken in the backfield. A clearing kick from O'Sullivan. Goes high and makes touch just shy of the 10-metre line. Shannon wanted to get out of this position, get further up the field. Young Munster will want to try and run down that clock, get some hands on the ball, and push Shannon further back into their own territory where they don't want to be.
The Munsters won't be in any hurry here, Dan, and I don't expect anything too flashy. They're probably going to keep it tight.
Shortened line out, looks like. There's 5 in there. Mark O'Mara throws to the tail, and it's just about tapped back from Bartley. Lovely little offload in midfield, and John Foley has his hands on it, and he goes for a run, breaks the first man. O'Mara picks it up, and he goes running, takes it over into the 22. O'Callaghan at the back to Tom Goggin. Goggin with the tackle, that looked high. Referee not interested. Out the back it goes into Fleming. Harry Fleming stepping inside his man and goes to ground. And Munster securing ball inside the Shannon 22. This is where they want to be. Rigney. A super game from him so far today as well. Now Munster slowing it down. Bartley eventually goes to ground, still just inside the Shannon 22. O'Callaghan popping it out. Alan Kennedy looking to show and go into midfield again. The step back inside from Cusack, and a lovely offload, and it looks like it's going to be a sprint all the way to the line. Hold down just short. Super defensive cover tackle to stop young Munster scoring. Into midfield, big carry, smashing through one, getting over, short to the line. Rigney's in support. O'Callaghan wants it at the back. It goes out, hands all the way out into the corner, and Craig O'Hanlon touches down in the corner for young Munster to break Shannon's heart in the corner. Craig O'Hanlon with the score. A little bit of afterwards from the players going in, but young Munster have that score in the corner from O'Hanlon, and a super score it was too, with hands all the way after a super break at the 22, and young Munster looked to have put the game to bed with that score.
Yeah, fantastic play by young Munsters there. Down a couple of phases in the 22. Shannon defending heroically. Darren Gavin with a wonderful cover tackle, but Rigney with a fantastic carry. Kennedy got over the gain line. Foley did then, and then Donnacha O'Callaghan feeds Craig O'Hanlon, who scores in the corner, and that all but sends the cup to Greenfields by the looks of things.
That stretches the lead. The score now 26-14. 12-point game again. And an opportunity. Donnacha O'Callaghan is going to attempt to kick this one. All the way out on the side. Likely he won't be in any rush. And Munster have scored 3 tries in this game to Shannon's 1. Those 3 tries, when they've come, not unexpected tries, but they certainly seem to be generated from nowhere. And suddenly, when they get moving, Munster look dangerous moving that ball. Donnacha O'Callaghan will attempt to add the extras. So, 26-14 the score. O'Callaghan difficult angle and he slices it. That's not going to be a highlight of this game, that particular kick. In the midfield, treatment being administered again. Fintan Coleman. And in fact, for the little bit of afters that went on in the corner, Eddie Hogan O'Connell has given a penalty to young Munster from the kickoff. I think it's been over a decade since I've seen that rule actually used by a referee, but he's penalised Shannon for the afters in the aftermath of Craig O'Hanlon's try, and so the penalty to young Munster from the kickoff. Jack Lyons will ping this one into touch, and Munster will look to see the game out. That's a super penalty kick from Jack Lyons, taking young Munster into Shannon's 22. 26-14, 12 points. Long left in this one. Probably only 3 or 4 minutes at most. 12 points. Well, Munster have been excellent when they've been excellent. Shannon have given a fine account of themselves. It's been a great Munster Senior Cup final. Taken from Tom Goggin at the top. And young Munsters start to maul and start to make some ground and really starting to shove. You can hear them being exhorted. Looks like it's gone down, but legally, says the ref, into midfield. Fleming tries to step around his man. He's held up. Really good defensive tackle and shoving Fleming back. Shannon getting that shove on. Referee says to release. O'Callaghan looks left and right. Goes open. Mark O'Mara stepping inside into traffic. Tackled and gone toes to ground. Back into midfield. And that's a big hit in the air. And that was a nasty looking hit on Fintan Coleman. And Coleman furious. The young Munster players furious as well. Coleman jumped to receive that ball and was taken out in the air. And Eddie Hogan O'Connell is going to have a little chat here. The discussion being had. Presumably, there's to be a card, but there's a debate being had about it. It looked dangerous to me, but Eddie Hogan O'Connell has the final say, the UCC man. A lengthy discussion. Looks like there's going to be no card here. So no card given, but an opportunity to kick 3 points for young Munster and make this 29 points to 14. A 15-point game surely is the final nail in the coffin of this Munster Senior Cup final.
Yeah, that probably will be that then. But again, Shannon will be desperately disappointed to lose the Senior Cup final, but they've been really, really good for 70 or the 80 minutes, as we said just before half-time, the 2 tries that young Munsters got. But you have to hand credit to young Munsters. Weren't firing all cylinders in the first half. Set piece didn't really go to plan, but they capitalised on the opportunities that were given to them.
Well, Jack Lyons' kick is a miss-hit. A serious one at that. Going under and wide of the post.
And that one for the highlight reel.
And so Shannon will kick off from inside their own 22. Not much, as I say, not much left in this. Hogan O'Connell is checking his watch. And there's 2 balls in the pitch. The referee says, oh, thank you. So slow to restart. And eventually dropped out. Shannon looking to return this possession towards Fintan Coleman. Ball knocked forward, and it will be a scrum advantage to Young Munster for the knock on. And that just shy of the 10-metre line. And surely into the last minute or so of this. We don't have a game clock, so we don't know. But presumably less than a minute or so left in this before Young Munster will be crowned champions. And on the balance of it over the course of the game, you'd have to say they deserve it. Their opportunities well taken when they came. Their defensive discipline has been outstanding to keep Shannon out, particularly when Shannon looked threatening. And the blend between some bruising forward play and some excellent back play has resulted in scores for Young Munster. They'll be a tough team to beat this season.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to be very tough to beat this season, Dan. I think looking at the game, the packs were pretty much evenly matched throughout there. Obviously, Munster's bench, as we said, with the introduction of Begley, Mark O'Mara, the likes of Tom Goggin, really experienced, wily heads coming in. Had that maybe that little bit more depth than Shannon on the day, but at the same time, Stephen Keogh, Pat O'Connor take huge confidence from the way Shannon had defended, from the way some of their players have stood up. I think Killian Deneen has been outstanding, Oran Ring has been outstanding as well. To a man, Ben Daly has been fantastic. They've got a couple of years in the AIL, which is not their goal today.
It is kicked into touch by Donegal Callahan, and in doing so, the referee brings it to a close for the first time in their history. Young Munster and beaten Shannon in a Munster Senior Cup final. You can see it means quite a lot to the Young Munster players celebrating out on the pitch. First Young Munster win in the Senior Cup since 2010, and a fine start to a season, end to a season in one game. Shannon gave a great account of themselves. They will be obviously disappointed to lose. This is a young up-and-coming team. Young Munster on the up and up after a superb season in the Energia Community Series last year. They'll be particularly delighted to start this season like this. And as you say, the depth in the bench, the strength that they have will make this a difficult team to beat. The final score here at Rossbrine in the Old Crescent Ground. Young Munster 26, Shannon 14, and a super win for Young Munster, crowned the Senior Cup champions for the year 2020 to 2021. We thank you all for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the live stream, and we hope to be back with you in the coming weeks and months. From myself and from Dara Frawley here at Rossbrine, thanks for joining us and have a good day.
I was waiting by the phone when I saw your name in the commentary. The phone never rang. I know. Well, look, I know that the budget doesn't stretch that far. I know that. Right? Jerry. Jade. Don't care. How are you? But you are neutral, that's why I'm saying it. Good night. This year's senior Take care.